So we have, usually we talk about 1 diaphragm, maybe 2 diaphragm or 3 diaphragm, but we actually have 8 diaphragms. 5 diaphragms are in the trunk, and the rest, the 3 is in the feet and the knees. 2 in the
Really?
feet and then 1 in the knees.
So you said 8 diaphragm we have?
Yeah, we
Wow.
have 8 diaphragms. And 8 diaphragms, you know what the diaphragms are? They're like a membranes that are separating the upper and the lower parts. They're membranes. So these membranes, we have them in our feet, we have them in our knees, and then the thighs we have here. So, and this is a really beautiful, maybe this will work for you more, you know, but you have to still practice it, is to know exactly where it is and which one is helping. And then what I like about this article, I got this from my anatomy teacher, is that they're also pointing to the core point here in the body, which is if you put 2 hands like this on the temples, and you imagine that there is a wire going between the 2, and then you put one of your hands here, and you imagine that the wire is coming from here to there. So you imagine where the cross is. Can you feel where the cross is between the vertical line and the sagittal? And then feel where they're meeting in the very, very center.
That's the diaphragm?
That's the point called the core point. You see the core point. Which this is all anatomy teacher. He's not practicing yoga, but I circled it and I put the third eye because that's exactly where the third eye is.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you feel it?
Yes.
Can you feel it?
I don't know how to.
I don't know if I
You
feel,
don't
but
know
I
how to
can
feel. So
visualize.
touch it lightly on your temples, lightly, not too much.
Oh.
And then imagine inside of you there is a wire that goes right through from one point to another point. It's like an electrical communication between 2 fingers. Can you feel that?
All I can feel is the pulses on my fingers.
Can you focus, instead of on the fingers, focus on the inside of the head?
Visualize.
Visualize. Visualize, and then take one of your hands away and put it in front between your eyebrows, and then visualize the front line. And imagine where the 2 lines are meeting inside of your head. Where would that be if you draw a line? Visualize. Can you feel it? Give yourself some time. Just kind of thinking of the inside rather than the outside.
And so it's a diaphragm you're saying there? No, so we can
This is the
That's
inside of the diaphragm. The
Inside.
inside of the skull. This
but
core
it's
point.
not a
Core
it's not a
point.
diaphragm there. No, no. Okay.
I'll give you this.
Did you find it?
The intersection is called the core.
The core point. Transformation of the body structure and function using breathing exercises. So you see, add a special focus on the space behind your eyes at the core point. Okay, now you're practicing. You see, that's juicy. What I feel, do I feel it? You don't give up too soon. Visualize, somatizing. But you see, this is the way we learn. Like visualize, visualize, visualize. And then at some point, the thing is that it accumulates. So once you do it, then you're going to be finding it just like that. Okay, I just do this and I know where it is.
Is it coming from here and
It's 2 lines. That's
It's coming
cross
from
stitching.
here to here, 2. If you imagine I'm putting a line inside of my brain between the 2 points, that's the horizontal. And then I'm putting a line from here to here, which is cutting through the 2.
Where those two where that intersection is. Just kind of feel, see. Well, it's not going to be here, right? 'Cause imagine if someone drilled a hole through this side of your brain and it came out the other side and there's a cord in there. And then went the other way from the middle, and where do those two lines meet? That's what Lydia's talking about.
And guess anatomically
Get it?
where that is?
Get that? Yeah, so it's not
Yeah.
out in the skull, it's inside the brain.
Inside, right there. That's where it is. It's right there. Right there.
So it's
right there.
So what's that point then in?
That's the center of the sphenoid bone, which is,
oh, right.
guess where that is? It's where the line of
Yeah.
the vertical line
Yeah,
ends.
you said it when you talked to us about
I
it.
talked about this, yeah.
Yes.
But that's the core point. So what we call the third eye, it's actually our first eye.
Mm-hmm.
So if you focus on that area and you're looking, like you're imagining that you're looking at the pond, you could actually see the whole body from the inside. That's why they call it, it's so important. So you access that
Yeah.
first.
I don't know how to access that.
The way you're doing it was the way to do it.
Yeah.
You just need longer
Practice.
time. And
Practice.
just longer time of finding it. Oh, let me look into it. Imagine this is in my body, this is in my body. So I'm just imagining it. Imagine. You know, some of us are a lot more imaginary than
Yeah,
you.
it's not something that you can like take a picture of, right? You have to imagine.
Imagine that
feel
it's
it,
inside you.
imagine that.
But if you're doing this, if you're doing like this, and you see how you feel this, the
The
sensation, you
yeah.
feel the heat, you
Yeah.
feel the sensation. Yeah, if you put it here, after doing this for a while, very, very light. That's too high. Right in the temple. Yeah, there. So hold it here, hold it here, hold it here, and when you hold it for a certain time, take it away, you're still gonna have it there. You're still gonna feel it there. But imagining it when you're holding it here, that there is something going through it, in between, yeah. So then when you feel that, then you go one hand here, and then you're gonna feel that where the two are meeting, you imagine that there is a line going through.
I
like
see
a
the line, a white line.
Pardon?
I see a white line when I close my eyes.
Yeah, that's great. That's a very good beginning. So you see a white line here, and then you imagine another one
Yeah,
from the
Yeah.
front.
yeah, short line and long line.
Yeah, I mean,
Where
they're
do those
approximately
two
the
lines
same.
cross
Where are
now?
the two lines meeting in the center? You feel that. Where are the two lines meeting in the middle? They're joining in a cross.
I can't feel it, but I just see line.
Yeah, see the line, and then see the other line, and then see the center where the two are meeting. Okay, so that's where your third eye is. Can you feel it, Christine?
That's your third eye.
Yeah.
That's your third eye.
Oh.
That's the third eye. That's where
I
the
just thought it, just
Oh,
always imagined it like
in front.
here.
those yogis
Yeah.
are smarter than like 3,000 years old. There's something behind all of it, right? Like,
Oh.
it's so, like it's
Yeah,
not
yeah.
just
But
posture.
what Barbara's saying is
Yeah.
that she was always imagining
Oh,
it on
that
the
was
skin.
right.
Here.
Oh,
yeah.
Like on the skin.
Like, well, just
Behind
below,
it.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
it was just, yeah.
Okay, so let's do this, otherwise you won't be able to do the
Yeah.
practice today. Actually, I can shorten the practice, but just if you can see. Okay, so when you go into this picture that we did with the central tendon, you remember? That central tendon is also the core point from the bottom.
So those two would
So
line up.
those two are lining up. Those two are the one that we call the middle body, which is the notochord. Remembrance of a notochord. So that's what I'm saying, going back to embryology, we'll just understand why we're thinking this. So if you're thinking about how can I feel this space and this space connecting?
How do you call this point down there?
Down there,
Central tendon.
here, central tendon.
Central tendon.
And guess what? The central tendon of the perineum and the central tendon that is in the center, right at your diaphragm, below your heart. These are all the central points.
Yeah.
Once those three are aligned, you are in your center. And when you are in your sacred center, that's why it's called sacred center. I'm out of my center. When you're in your center, everything is, yeah.
So where's the middle one? The
Middle one is like below the heart, it's the central pendant of the heart. But that's just for you to understand when you're reading this, why is this important. So I put here, core point, the third ventricle. So the fluids are going through this area. It's the size of a walnut. It looks like a little walnut. Anatomy, anterior dural girdle, that's where it is. We could see everything, you see? We could see everything from the inside, and that's how it looks. It's like holds the memory of the embryo, you see? So it's all shows you there. It's a little bit of a dip. Yeah, too bad I don't have a walnut, but if you do see in the walnut, it does look like a walnut, you see? It has this, all the
Yeah, this
positions of the brain that it's,
Yeah, it is almost.
So really, we don't really need our legs and our arms.
pardon?
We don't need our legs and our arms.
No, we don't need our legs and our arms
Other
at first.
than movement. And,
Yeah, exactly.
I mean,
That's what it is. That's why the legs and the arms are just functionally,
extension.
functionally there. An extension of your spine. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, right.
Uh-huh.
They're not independent. Okay, so this is what I wanted to show you. This is the top of the head. It looks a little bit like a, I don't know what you could say, butterfly or
Yeah,
something.
butterfly, moth, moth
Or a
actually.
moth, yeah. And, or this one looks more like an elephant ear.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing.
Very
It's,
similar.
similar, yeah.
And then this is what it is with arms and legs. Our arms and legs, you see, are just like a yoke, like an extension. They're just like an extension. Our spine is the most important thing. And everything else, like Christine says, is just an add-up. This is only functionally, so we can walk and we can eat. We can eat, we can hug, we can touch, but everything else in terms of our posture is just spine. That's why we're working almost on the spine all the time. And then the spine will help the arms and help the legs eventually. Okay, so that was it. And then so here you have, okay, so you have the 5 diaphragms, and I'm not gonna talk much about what they benefit, but here is where they are. It's interesting. Core breathing is used to move every diaphragm. It's almost like, because you can from here see your whole body, you can use that to breathe with the diaphragm. You can almost use the center to open you up like a fan, like a fan opening and closing. And then, so it says here, it tells you exactly what you need to do, and then it says how you do it. Okay, so, and then it's going to tell you what is it beneficial for. Oh, jeez. Okay, so this is how your diaphragm, where is the pelvic diaphragm? So you have your tail, pubic bone, sits bones. You see I draw a fan. That's the pelvic floor thing. Where they are, it also shows you where they are. And the third one is that shows you how beneficial they are, like what do they do. Okay, so here. They're amazing. Crown diaphragm, guess this. Who can read this?
Okay.
Okay?
Oh, you want me to read it?
Yeah.
Oh.
Ellen
You shouldn't have
Johnson.
said that so much.
You want me to read it?
Crown diaphragm gets spontaneous release of the cranial bone joints, sutures, relieves depression, helps control grief, integrates the whole function of all body movements, including the musculoskeletal tissues and the specialized organs, integrates both sides of the brain so that thought processes become more focal and brain fog disappears.
Imagine this. How about that?
That's
Here
like-
you are.
But
Depression, brain fog, And this is from a medical, osteopathic medical book or something. So, but this brain diaphragm goes, where is the skull? Inside of the skull. You remember I was talking about the 3 layers of the spine. I'm going to go get this.
Integrates the whole function of all body movement.
Inside of the skull, there is a plastic bag that is glued, a little bit glued onto the skull. So this plastic bag surrounds the skull on the inside, the first layer, so you can peel it off. You can watch this on a YouTube video with Gil Headley. And that goes through the spine. So remember I was talking about ponytail of the spine. That's the part of the diaphragm goes around your crown. That's the crown diaphragm. That's the crown diaphragm.
That's the crown diaphragm, okay.
So that little
So-
layer, is you are saying, is the crown diaphragm?
Yeah, exactly. It's a layer, membranous layer that goes around.
So it's not like the same kind of diaphragm like we have here. I mean, it is, but it's visually it's different.
And it's
I
the
guess.
other way, this one. Oh no, it's the same way. isn't
Yeah,
it?
it's the same.
They're kind of doming.
Yeah.
Doming. All of them are doming.
Doming, yes.
But it doesn't.
But it does have.
So
yeah.
why is that called a diaphragm? To what I mean, when you think of the diaphragm, which is probably this one we think of
Because
all the time.
diaphragm is something that
That's-
separates the vertical line in between,
Ah,
and there is a dome quality to
And I
it.
think we
So
only said
respiratory
the
diaphragm is this diaphragm,
Right.
right?
Yes.
mhm.
So to connect with this diaphragm, Tom Meyer put like a snake inside, and the more you feel the snake, I mean, this is all anatomical, very complicated, but it's what we want to know, it's just the diaphragm. So, okay, somebody can read the
The palatine diaphragm.
respiratory diaphragm. Respiratory diaphragm.
I'll do that. Respiratory diaphragm releases general back tension from the pelvis to the rib cage. Breathing becomes deeper, so it massages all abdominal organs, helps overcome constipation, and reduces acid reflux.
Very concrete, helping. Okay, pelvic diaphragm. Guess what is pelvic diaphragm? It's the pelvic floor muscle. That's the diaphragm. That's also a diaphragm.
Oh, wow.
Diaphragm is a muscle.
Membrane. More
It's a membrane, yeah, the membrane, but membrane that separates. It's also kind of these are very musculature, and this is
Yeah.
very musculature.
Right.
But the throat diaphragm
And
is a
the-
bit more membranous, and this is more membranous,
Right.
and this is palatine diaphragm. It's another one. It's more membranous. So these are basically what they are. Okay, so pelvic diaphragm releases painful cycles, helps bladder. Urine and tube-ovarian dysfunctions give greater sexual satisfaction, releases hip, low back, and sacroiliac pain. So this is all the.
We all need those.
Huh?
Like all these 5 diaphragm is so important for all these kids. It's unbelievable.
Then respiratory diaphragm. So we said throat diaphragm is here where the vocal. That's also vocal diaphragm, right? It's the throat diaphragm. Throat diaphragm relaxes the shoulders and the neck, helps relieve asthma, colds, laryngitis, thyroid problems, heart palpitation, TMG problems, improves sleep, helps saliva flow in the mouth. Throat diaphragm, so that's here. Then palatine diaphragm is above your upper palate and separates the nasal cavity from the oral cavity. I mean, all of this is there, you can read that. And this one helps align the crooked teeth, improve the function of immune system, endocrine system, eyesight, hearing, cleanse the sinuses, reduces tiredness, helps insomnia, decrease dizziness, migraine headache. It's all this diaphragm. And you know how is it done? This one, if you can't find it, yawning.
Oh.
Because when you yawn, you never yawn like this. You always yawn like, all right, you're lifting that diaphragm up. Okay, so, and then this one is the picture of this diaphragms.
Amazing.
But remember, this diaphragm is also continuation that goes down the spine, right? So when you do this diaphragm, you actually, well, like I say, release depression and helps other things, but also helps the circulation of the nerves, because it's a kind of a onesie that goes from here and it's ending right here between the eyebrows. So it's a part of that kind of bodysuit that goes right back. It's a part of the, I think it's also part of the back
So
body.
are those diaphragms connected in the back? Like what I mean is like, so it starts here, this one goes around, and then this is the spine, and then we have the palatine one. Is this one connected to the
With the spine.
to the spine, and is this one connected with the spine? And so is
Definitely.
this one, so they are all connected basically. So they-
Well,
like
yeah.
little plates that come out.
Everything is connected, yeah. But I
But
think
what I
that
mean
you
connected,
are
I
they
mean-
connected with the vertical line?
I'm talking actually connected, like in
They touch?
Do they touch? Yes. Does that mean you know?
Touch with what?
Well, with the
spine.
spine, because
With the
like the
spine.
way it looks here, it's kind of
Well, you know how they connect with the spine. I mean, the spine is not a diaphragm, right? The
No.
spine is a part of the crown diaphragm.
right.
And the spine is the back body.
Right.
Your organs line chandelier is the front body. And the closest to the middle body, because there is nothing inside of the middle that says there is a middle, but the closest to the middle body are those tendons, central tendon here and the core point here.
Mm-hmm.
So you have them all around that, so they're connected. They're connected. So where the diaphragm attaches to the spine, this diaphragm where it attaches to the spine, it's also where the psoas is attached and where the kidneys are attached. So just everything is connected. They're connected with the spine, but not directly. How to say? They're more connected with these three vocal diaphragm. It's not connecting to the spine directly. It's like a jellyfish in the middle. So if anything, these diaphragms are more connected with the middle.
The core. So it's not attached in a sense, real as per se. Like it's not.
The thoracic diaphragm is attached.
Attached. Okay. Okay.
Palatine diaphragm is not attached to the spine. Yeah. Anyways, this one is in the throat, this one is in the pelvis, so you're going to practice that.
And can you say again, where's the one in the throat again?
Vocal.
Oh, it's the vocal cords?
Vocal diaphragm.
But where is it exactly? Like,
When you feel the ujjayi breath.
yeah.
So
Or is that the
it
shoulder?
shows in the front and towards the back. Like, so there's two, or is that a
They're
movement?
just
Can
one
you
call.
feel it?
They just want to show that it's a dome.
Okay.
That's probably
that
the most
that
difficult.
picture. So,
Right? Like this one.
I think Ujjayi.
pelvic diaphragm lifts
Yeah.
up as you inhale.
Mhm.
Okay, so this is the move, this is not here. Thoracic diaphragm, how does it move with the inhale? When you inhale, it goes where?
Up.
When you inhale, it goes, it's like an umbrella, right? Upside down.
Where did
It
the
goes
diaphragm goes when we breathe
Because
in?
if we go from the navel up, it goes up.
No, pelvic
Diaphragm.
thoracic diaphragm.
Yeah, it goes up, I think.
It goes down.
When you
but no.
inhale, it goes down. When you exhale, it goes up and massages.
You
the
know
heart.
why it goes down? You know why it goes down? Because it's below the lungs. It's underneath of the lungs. It separates the lungs and the heart and the organs. So why the belly goes forward? Because the diaphragm goes down. Because why it's going down? Because it doesn't have room. Because the lungs are starting to expand
Yes.
and then push the diaphragm. Okay, so it goes down as you inhale and up as you exhale. Diaphragm, thoracic diaphragm, pelvic diaphragm. It goes up as you inhale and down as you exhale. So there is this cooking space here in the belly. Imagine everything comes, pressure goes when you inhale and when you exhale. So here there is this agni, the heat that is happening at that time. This diaphragm goes up, I feel it, it's go up as you inhale and down as you exhale,
Yeah, like the collar. Kind of.
like the collar.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then this diaphragm also up as you inhale It's like a tent. So imagine tent is down and you're putting the tent up, right? Yes, and then this one, palatine crown diaphragm also. It feels like it's going up. I have an image, like if you wear a very, very tight swim hat, like size small, and with the time when you're breathing in this, it's gonna feel like a size medium or large. That's gonna feel the difference
Right.
after you're breathing into it, because you're focusing on it, you're expanding to it. But you know what you're doing, you're cellularly connecting to these diaphragms, right? Yeah. So these, I think it would be best if we just go into experiencing them right now. But I want to start with ah-ooming, so maybe you can pause and then.